Okay, now that we have our database and our files and we've got them connected, next we have to try to pull something from that database. All right. So let's go back to our form, and we want this to happen when you log in. Let's go ahead and copy this right into here. So we've got our database connection, our string. It tests it open, and if there's an error, it'll pop up. Now we need a few more items created. So the first thing is going to be the OLEDB command. We're going to call it dbcmd. And we also want to create the OLEDB data reader. If we don't use this, we can't read anything from our database. We're going to call this db read, dbread. Okay. So we've got these three right here. Okay. Next up, we need to create the SQL string that we're going to be using to command our database. So we want to do string. We're going to name this SQL command. Okay. And it's discussed in class. SQL commands have a few parts. We need select. Go ahead and add a plus, quotes, from. Okay. Let's make this even. All right. What we want to do is select. We can actually go right over here to data sources on the side. See our log info table, and we have username. So we want to say select username from log info. Okay. This will be our command. Now what we would want to do is type dbcmd equal to new OLEDB command. Okay, equal to OLEDB command. Then set the db command dot text dot command text is equal to the SQL command. That way it knows when we're issuing this specific command, the text is going to be equal to what's here. And we also want it to know that the dacmd dot connection is equal to dbcon. Okay. So with all this information now, when we type in db command and have it run, it's going to use this connection. It's going to use this command as its text, and it's going to run. So now that that's done, one more thing we want to do, every time we open a connection, we want to go ahead and close it just for our own safety and to cause the computer not to have a heart attack. All right. Next up, what we're going to do is tell our database data reader, dbread, that it should run the command after the database is open. So we want to do command.execute. We want to do execute reader. And what this does is it just tells the computer to go ahead and run it. And while this is active, we want it to work within a while loop and do dbread.read. So we want it to take our little reader into account And then we want it to put lbl register.text, make that equal to dbred, make that equal to dbred dbred, open and close parentheses, put quotes around this, username dot to string. Cool. So it's going to take the username from the first one, and it's just going to make it equal to the text. So now that we have that, we should be able to just start. Actually, let's edit the name because it does not match the direct name of the data source here in the command, and it's case sensitive. And make sure you add this space right here after the username. That's very important. It will not work. Okay. Let's start it up, and when we click login, our username from our database pops in right here. Okay. So congratulations, we've started doing something, and it's going to be very interesting when you see where it goes next. Now, next thing we want to do, go ahead and change the command to be select password. Make sure you put the space in right after there. Without the space, it just detects this as continuing. You can also put a space in front of the from if you'd rather. Either one's fine. But there has to be a space between password and from within the quotes. Okay, got that. Now, what we also want to do is make a string. We're going to call this string username. And we're going to equal it to whatever is in the txt username.text file. Okay. And we want to add one more line to our SQL command, so make sure you put the space here, you put the plus, and you can bring it down here, where username equals. Now, we want to put the data, the string right here, username, into this, so we're going to use a variable there, but to top this off, what we need is to put a single quotation right around all of those. Now, that should work. Oh, that is correct. What we need to do is put a plus there and a plus here because we're concatenating all the strings. Okay. Now, this shouldn't technically change anything. Let's go ahead and just see if there's any errors. Here, and a quick way. Okay, see how nothing changed? Let's try to type in the username right here. Click login. Okay, we got username. Okay, that's something. That's And the reason why that didn't quite work out was because we're trying to pull a username here, but we're no longer looking at a username, we're looking at a password. So let's change this to password. Press start. Now, click login, nothing will happen, but when we type in a username, click login, password pops up. Awesome. We are so close to being finished. So close this. The next few things we need to do, we also want to make another string, and we're going to call the string password, and we'll equal it to the password.text, so whatever you've done that. Then we need a final string, confirm password equals. And we're actually not going to make it equal to anything, we're going to just create it. And just for our own benefit, I'm not going to take away that string up on top, but I am going to make this almost the exact same. Okay. It's going to try that. It's going to run it through. If there's any issues. And finally, you can do an if. And the if will say if password equals confirm password. Okay. Then what we're going to do is create a new form register dot show. Okay. And we also, let's go ahead and create that class now. So frm feed equals feed equals f new frm feed. We're gonna do feed.show, and let's put that here. Do form feed equals feed.show. Okay, make sure you make that as a capital. And finally, what we want to do, make that as a capital. Let's add the parentheses there. And the part of the problem here is that we haven't done anything with it, with the confirm password, even though it's right here. What we need to do is make the password equal to null, which is no value at all, but it still exists. The reason why we don't want to make this a blank with the two quotes is because then it would allow people who just don't put anything in there to log in. Okay. Should be good. And let's press start. Okay. Let me just try to type in username, log in. Okay, it doesn't work, but it pulls this up. Let me type that in there. And hey, our feed window popped up. Great. You've just successfully made a place where people can log in. Congrats.